Jesus Christ, our Redeemer and Savior. We are committing this.
From the civil society organizations present, representatives from the Council of Churches in Namibia present, distinguished invited guests. Before I go to that, I would like to observe one of the critical guests that will be joining us. In our midst is the representatives from the Commonwealth who are in the country for a pre-assessment or election assessment. I'll not do much of the introduction. I'd rather leave that to the chairperson to introduce them officially to you. I also wish to recognize the presence of Advocate John Nakuta, the media ombudsman, who's also in our midst. Distinguished invited guests, members of the media, good afternoon. My name is Divet Siluka. I'm the manager for corporate communications at ECN, and this afternoon I've been tasked to direct the proceedings of this engagement this afternoon. We wish to welcome you all and thank you for making time to this very important engagement. Having said that, I think before we go into the details of our program, we have shared some information packs with the teams that were here in the morning, or the political party liaison committee members who were here in the morning. We are still going to do the same and share these information packs with the delegates who are joining us for the afternoon session, so that you follow with us as we go through our presentations, and also have a backup information pack that you can relate to in terms of you going through your notes. With that said, I would like to invite the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Namibia, Dr. Elsie Nikembwa, to welcome us all to the event.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. For a moment, I thought I'm talking to myself. Let me recognize the protocol that was established by the program director. But I would like to greet our viewers and our listeners. NBC is broadcasting live, so good afternoon to you too. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the Commission to the official release of the Provisional Voters Register and preliminary statistics following the successful conclusion of the 2024 General Registration of Voters. As per our 2024 electoral calendar, The fourth general registration of voters was conducted between the 3rd of June to the 1st of August 2024, both inside the country and at all our Namibian diplomatic missions abroad. The Commission would like to extend its deepest gratitude to all electoral stakeholders who have demonstrated unwavering support towards ensuring effective voter education campaigns throughout the GRV period. Without your support, we would not have reached the target that we did. Can we please clap for ourselves? Your collective efforts in supporting and enhancing the Commission's communication drive to have eligible voters registered have indeed been invaluable. Following the successful conclusion of the GRV, the Commission turned its attention to the review of the electoral data so gathered and compilation of the Provisional Voters Register. This subsequent phase included the running of the Automated Fingerprint Identification System, or AFIS, with the objective of comparing all 10 fingerprints of each voter captured on the system to detect any possible multiple entries per voter. This ensures the integrity and credibility of the voters' register. Ladies and gentlemen, following the successful conclusion of the GRV, a total number of 1,465,129 records were uploaded to the central server. With this verification exercise, the system detected 13,685 multiple entries of the provisional statistics recorded and reported daily during the GRV. This resulted in a decrease of 0.93%, rounded off to 1%, bringing the final provisional statistics to 1,451,444 registered voters, and that is 90%. While this shows a decrease of 1% in the total preliminary statistics, this also demonstrates the effectiveness and capability of the biometric voter registration system to ensure that every registered voter appears only once in the voters' register. In view of this, the Commission is pleased to inform you as our electoral stakeholders that the Provisional Voters Register has been produced and it will be released today, the 29th of August. Such register will be displayed for objections between the 29th of August and the 4th of September 2024, countrywide in all 121 constituencies, in accordance with the provisions of the Electoral Act. The preliminary statistics released today are disaggregated into national generational cohorts, gender breakdown, youth turnout, and people with disabilities. We have also provided a breakdown of the total number of multiple entries recorded in each region. With the removal of the multiple entries, the total number of registered voters now stands at 1,451,444, as I indicated before. As outlined in our electoral calendar, significant statutory activities in the build-up to the polling day include, amongst others, the display of the Provisional Voters Register for scrutiny, presentation of objections before the Electoral Tribunal and its ruling on such objections, presentation of appeals before the Electoral Court and its ruling on such appeals, production and release of the final Voters Register on the 30th of September 2024, followed by a period of candidate nomination between the 26th of September and the 16th of October. The release of the final voters' register will pave the way for the designing and printing of the ballot papers, which will be undertaken in accordance with the provisions of the Public Procurement Act, number 5 of 2015. As electoral stakeholders, you will be kept informed about these developments. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commission will today also present the voter verification system, which will be used to identify and verify the voters on polling day. I wish to inform you further that the Commission will conduct a mock verification exercise in randomly selected constituencies during the 30th to the 31st of August. As with your active participation in the GRV, we once again appeal to all stakeholders to participate in the mock verification exercise to ensure absolute readiness for a smooth and efficient polling day. Finally, as we commence the election phase, I urge you all to collectively employ effective voter education efforts to ensure that all registered voters turn up to vote on the 27th of November. It's one thing to register, it's another to turn up to vote. So we really would like our stakeholders to join us to get 90% that we have registered, that we have on the final voters register, to come and vote. Let us remember that the right to vote is a fundamental right that must be upheld and protected by all. I'd like to thank you for joining us today and for continued support and participation in the electoral process. Together, we can ensure that our elections are free, fair, credible. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson, for those welcoming remarks. Another round of applause for the Chairperson. Attaining 90% total registration in a country where registration is voluntary is a milestone that we can all be proud of. And I wish to, once more again, ask us to give us another round of applause to all of us. It is because of our collective efforts as a country that we have achieved such a milestone. And if we collectively continue with that spirit of encouraging each other and the spirit of volunteerism to our democratic processes, we will achieve the 90% voter casted come November. So let's continue with that spirit. With that said, I wish to invite the man of the moment. He will be the man of the moment until he doesn't sweat. He is very calm. He is ready. Let me invite to you the Chief Electoral and Referenda Officer, Mr. Peter Sharma, to present to us the Provisional Voters Register and the GRV statistics as they are segregated. Mr. Sharma, the floor is yours.
Director of the proceedings, thank you very much. Let me stand by the protocols already established. Let me also join our chairperson to greet the Namibians over there and our viewers on the NBC. My task will be very simple. Very simple, because the foundation has already been laid by the chairperson. My task will be to simply translate her speech into the figures. How did we arrive at the figures that the chairperson has shared with us in her speech? That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to give you You must assist me because I have a very simple job, not to touch here and there. Yeah, it's fine. So, I'm going to share with you the Provisional Voters Register and demographic breakdowns for the period of the GRV So, the chairperson has indicated that we have 4 categories of generations in our register. The first one is the generation born before 1925. And that constitutes 1,051 registered voters in our register. It indicates that we still have wisdoms among us. We must be proud and appreciate that. We have a generation born between 1925 to 1944. That represents 27,978 registered voters. And then we have a generation born between 1945 to 1981. That stands at 521,099 registered voters. It appears that as we follow the category of generations, it's increasing. The number is increasing. We have a generation born from 1982 onwards. That represents 901,316 registered voters. That means the majority of our voters were born during that period. So that is what constitutes our registered number of voters in our voters register. So that means if we look, you can also look at the chart. That means that category of 1982 takes a big chunk of our voters register. Now, as a commission, we have also a duty to make sure that we have a breakdown in terms of gender. And this is a requirement in our processes, and the system makes it very easy for us. With the total number of registered voters shared with you earlier by the chairperson, we have male that constitute a number of 666,617 registered voters as male. The second one is the female, which represents 784,827 registered voters as females. What does it mean? It means we have 54% registered as males compared to 54% of female registered as voters compared to 46% of male registered as voters. So it means in our register, we have more women registered. It does not mean that there are no more other women. It's only to say they are in a majority. So, a nation without a mother will not be taken care of. So this is the picture in terms of the breakdown in terms of gender. Now, the third category is the youth. In terms of the youth, they are also categorized into groups. One is the registered voters as youth between 18 up to 34 years, and then represents 641,037 registered voters. And then we have the category of 35 years and above, which represents 810,407 registered voters, which means the age category that were born that are 35 years and above takes a big chunk, representing 56%, whereas the age category between 18 and 34 years represents 44%. Now, as part of enhancing our systems, and as part of our disability mainstreaming policy, we have built in the system the component for the system to be able to generate statistics on people with disabilities. That was never there before. This is a requirement, and with that, we have registered people with disabilities to the total of 21,785, which represents 1.5% of registered voters in our voters register. They are in 4 categories. Category 1 is for those who are having disabilities with artificial limb. Second, for those who are having visual impairment challenges. Third, for those who have disability with deaf. And then the fourth one, for those who have physical disabilities. That takes a bit of the population in that category. This is for us to enable us to plan accordingly and deploy resources accordingly. Going forward, that is the way to go. The next slide, as I said, mine is just only to translate into figures so that we can break down the total accordingly. So now, the law requires every Namibian eligible to register to vote to present prescribed document, either a set of documents or a single document, depends what a voter or an eligible voter is presenting. So they are also categorized in different groups as provided for in the Electoral Act. These are the documents provided for, or the requirements provided for in the law. One, we have the voters that were registered presenting birth certificate and driver's license to be able to identify themselves. And that represents 1,909 registered voters. We have also those who have presented birth certificates, plus a sworn statement and citizenship certificate. Why? Those are the ones that have the birth certificate issued in other countries, but they have to complete a sworn statement or declaration before the registration officer, who is a commission of oath, to say, I did not surrender my citizenship. So that one stands at 45,180 registered voters. We have also those who have presented the national identity document. This is the first Namibian ID, the blue one, issued after independence, having a barcode. That represents 1,110,040 registered voters. It means the majority of our voters have used the Namibian identity documents with a barcode. We have also, Namibia has also introduced a new ID with QR code, which was introduced recently, this year. We have 282,588 registered voters using those new IDs. The law also makes a provision to say, okay, if you don't have one of these, you can present your old Southwest Africa national identity document, which is issued to Namibians. I want to repeat myself, issued to Namibians only. So that represents 1,507. It means the majorities are moving towards the new IDs. That is the indication that we can get from there. The law also makes provision for you to present, when you register, the valid green Namibian passport to be able to identify yourself when you register. Those ones that have used the valid green Namibian passport, we have registered 10,000 220 voters. This gives us a total of all the registered voters in our register. This is only to help you how the documents that were presented, so that at least you appreciate. Now, the chairperson has indicated that after the registration, the general registration of voters, following the demobilization, we were seized with the uploading of data. And the purpose of uploading the data is to finally build the voters register. That is the purpose. Now, the law also requires that when you register, you are only required to appear once in the voters register. You cannot have two shama appearing twice or three times. Then you compromise credibility of the voters register. We have built in mechanisms to detect that. And that is what we have done when we run AFES that the chairperson talked about. This is to ensure that Shama is only appearing once, not more than once. When we ran AFES, the chairperson has indicated to the number that the system was able to detect those multiple entries that registered more than once. What should be the cause? Probably a person, when he or she went for the first time, realized that the picture doesn't look good. Let me try somewhere else so that I get another one with a good picture. Not knowing that the picture will not deprive you on the day of election. Never. So they tried to go here and there. But when we uploaded the data, the system was able to say, okay, I have Shama who tried to register more than once. I will remove the other entries, or the one entries. If it's two, I will remove one. I only keep one. If it's three times, I remove the rest. Then I only keep one. So the system will be able to remove double entries or multiple entries and only delete the earliest one and keep the latest. Because it's recognized to say, okay, maybe a person has a reason, let me take the latest. It's also generous. The system is also generous. But it will not allow you for you to appear twice. That's why you have 13,685 removed from the system. That represents 0.93. If you round off, you will get to the nearest, you make it 1%. Where did we get these multiple entries? This is how the multiple entries are allocated. The highest one is in Commerce, which is the capital city, followed by Omsati, and then Oshikoto, and then Erongo. So this means if the system was not having the capability to remove this, we could have people appearing or voters appearing twice or three times. Unfortunately, the system has the capability to detect that. Or fortunately. My job was to translate into these numbers. That's the first slide. But still, I must thank you for listening to me. Okay. I'm concluding. Bear with me. So now we are going to share with you the Provisional Voters Register in terms of numbers, not a physical one. I don't have that mandate. Person mandated will come at appropriate time. This is just only to share with you how we captured and obtained our records. And this is built into comparisons to compare between female and male. As I indicated earlier, we have a breakdown of gender. This is only to appreciate where we have more men or women registered as voters. So Kairos has a total turnout of 86%. And if you look at Kairos, you can already see that there are a few constituencies where we have more males registered as voters, not as citizens but as voters. Is a citizen, yes, but not as ordinary people. So now we have the highest one is Oraniemund, where we have more men, followed by Karasberg. So, and then Berseba. But of course, the rest you can see, we have Keetmanshoop rural, where we have more female. Yeah, the rest you can see there on the balance. Let's move to Erongo. The total turnout for Erongo is 93%. And if you look at Erongo, you will see that we have more or less a similar situation like Kairos, where we have more men in a few constituencies. But interestingly, Swakopmund, we have more females registered as voters, which is, if you look at that figure, is the only constituency that you can see have more women registered as voters, plus Walvis Bay rural. This is just only to give us a feel the combination of our voter population in terms of gender per region per constituency. And the percentage of turnout for each constituency is there. I don't need to repeat on that in the interest of time. Haradap region, we have a provisional turnout of 84%. So, and then you can also see that Rehoboth urban and Rehoboth rural, we have more women, as well as Mariendal urban. So, moving forward, with Kavango East, provisional turnout with a total of 83%, the picture changed. You can see that in all 6 constituencies, we have more women registered as voters than men. Interestingly, Kavango West, which is having a provisional turnout of the same with Kavango East, of 83%, it retained the trend obtained in Kavango East, where we have more women registered as voters than men. But this does not mean that we don't have eligible voters as many there. No, it's only that those who manage to go and register. You can already see that in some constituencies, we still have some percentage that could not be obtained. You can see at the percentage turnout. It could happen that those are men. Commerce, we have a total provisional turnout of 89%. And you can see that we have a few number of constituencies that we have more females registered as voters, starting with Samora Machel. We have Komasdal, we have Windhoek West, we have Katutura Central, and then we have Johnny Pandeni. So where we have more female registered as voters. Kunene, provisional turnout stands at 97%. And you can also see that we have a few number of constituencies where we have more women registered as voters, starting with Epupa, Korihas, Opuo Rural, Opuo Urban, Opuo or Ocho, with the exception of Fontaine. I proceed in the interest of time. Ohangwena, provisional turnout is 93%. But if you look at all the constituencies, we have more females registered as voters than men. So, of course, the performance, as I said, for each constituency is indicated down under each constituency, that we can always look at them at our own space. Omaheke, the provisional turnout is 86%, with only one constituency where we have more women registered as voters, which is Hobabes, and the rest we have more men registered as voters. This is now opposite to the others. Omsati. Omsati is also taking the lead, the same. Well, we have a turnout of 94%, but if you look at the trend in all constituencies, it means we had more women that had the opportunity to go and register. I think we were generous to allow them to go and register. As a result, we find ourselves on the last day not registering. So, Oshana, it is also interesting, 96%, but it takes the same trend. It means women had more time than men to go and register. And we are encouraged to go and register during the supplementary registration coming next year. Oshkoto, of course, this has brought a sort of a balance. But of course, the majority, you can see that the women had the opportunity or created the opportunity. Let me put it that way. Created the opportunity to go and register. But of course, we also appreciate the men who have created the opportunity to go and register. So the total turnout is 88%. Ochethonjupa, the total turnout is 87. And here we have a balance. Of course, you can see that I think 3 constituencies we had more women created good opportunity to go and register. We commend our mothers and ladies. Zambezi region, you can see that even though we have a sort of a balance, the women are created the opportunity to go and register. So with only, I think, Kabe, no, not Kabe. My eyes were misleading me. So it means Zambezi, the women created the opportunity to go and register. The total turnout is 86%. And then the performance in terms of turnout per each constituency is also reflected there. I think in the interest of time, I don't need to dwell on that, because we have shared with you the copy. What does this mean? This means that this is what we can project, we share with you. This is how we break down our statistics, and that's how our voters register is structured. And you can only talk about this once you upload the data into the central server at the national level, and you run AFES to be able to compare the possible multiple entries and remove those entries recorded. That means it talks to the integrity, credibility, and capability that the system can bring about in our electoral processes. I will be guilty in the eyes of the Lord if I don't thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Just as we rightly informed you, he is the man of the moment. Do you believe me? Believe what he said. He said he's not going to say anything. He's just going to break down what the chairperson has already alluded to. Can we give him another round of applause? We now know over 900 of registered voters are youth. Over 900,000. Thank you for correction. Over 900,000 are youth. How do we target them? It's a homework that we need to take home. How do we go and then encourage them to go and vote? How do we curate our information to target them? Some of them, about 46%, are on TikTok. Do we have TikTok? Okay. The task lies with us. We have provided the data that can also assist us to go and, as stakeholders, and continue with what we have started to entice the public, Namibian citizens who have registered, to go in numbers and vote. So the task lies with us, and we should continue. The next item on our program is to then have a discussion surrounding the information that the CEO has just presented to us. And would like to invite Commissioner Dr. Hassan Sindano to moderate that session. Commissioner, over to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm Gerson Sendano, and one of the electoral commissioners, and my task is very simple. Maybe before I go on, I wish to stand on the protocol as established by the previous speakers. Now, in science class, they say data speaks for itself, so you don't need to explain anything. But in democracy, someone has to speak for the data. And that's what we are going to do. So we had a morning session, and political parties were allowed to ask questions and clarity, or to see whether clarity or explanations were given in the morning session. Now, I would like to use this opportunity to invite members of the media to ask questions or to seek clarity. By the way, if the information is clear, then you don't need to ask questions, then we can move on. But if there are certain pertinent issues that you want clarity on, please, this is the opportunity. I think we will start from this side, just like we did in the morning. Or no, I think, I don't know where the media members are. But if you have questions, please raise up your hand. We bring the mic to you. And okay, my sincere apology. Normally after lunch, you tend to lose focus. Members of the media and those who did not attend the morning session, if you have questions to ask, put up your hand, we'll bring the mic to you, then you ask questions. I think we take 4 questions per round, and then we get feedback, and then we get back again. Please be brief, go straight to the point, and get the correct information, particularly with the media. This is the opportunity to ask all the information that you need concerning the presentation that has just been presented by Mr. Sharma. Get the correct information so that you can inform the nation. I am confident and hopeful that this year we will conduct an election the likes of which you have never seen. Okay, let's start. Oh, Mr. Sharma, you did very well. Okay, in the far corner, Ambassador Nanda.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Let me thank the presenters for the really a comprehensive presentation that they provided to us. My question is just concerning my constituency. I have a constituency that also participated in the registration, and I do not see my constituency reflected, or perhaps are they registered according to the regions where they originated from. And by my constituency, for those who do not understand, I'm referring to the 31 embassies and 4 consulates that we have around the world. I thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Next question. Oh, okay. Over here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, ECN, for the elaborative presentation. I have got 2 questions. I would like to ask that most of us that are deaf have missed out on the voters' education or voter information, because many of us that are actually with disabilities are in the remote areas. So we haven't really gotten so much info from the ECN. Now there are 2 categories of people that are deaf. There are those that are deaf and those that are deaf and blind. And that's my worry is now, how are they going to access the information? And also, I don't see them reflected here, that category of deaf and blind, because we have those in our country. Yes, we do. But the challenge is probably that they are a bit in the remote areas. The Namibian constitution says that we all have the right to vote, but I think we are now a bit left behind, because now they were not able to be registered this time around.
Okay, thank you very much. The next, I think the last question, and then we get feedback. Yes, the Ombudsman, Media Ombudsman.
Good afternoon. Sorry, my voice is a bit very bad. I've got a flu. First thing, I really would like to express, also like the previous speaker, and to congratulate the ECN for a job well done. I actually really like the idea that the information is broken down, and it is actually good for academics like myself to really look at the figures and to make sense of it. I'm sure you know that as the Media Ombudsman, we are running a media monitoring project. And one of the things that we are doing, we are looking at youth participation and gender participation. And with this kind of breakdowns, it just adds to what we are going to do so as to support your work. With regard to the youth, I was wondering, is the information even more broken down or disaggregated, so as to get a sense how many of our young people at tertiary institutions bothered to register, if one wants to make a case out of that. So my question is whether or not the information, in as much as it is disaggregated now, can we even approach your office for the kind of briefing papers that we are writing as part of our project, whether we can get further disaggregated information for our purposes for academic work and stuff. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. CEO. Okay.
Thank you very much for. Thank you very much for the questions. The question of the constituency not appearing on the presentation. We appreciate the question, Ambassador Nanda. Thank you very much. If we recall very well, as we have been releasing statistic every week, as we've been doing during the GRV, we have been reporting the number of registered voters received from or recorded from all the 35 diplomatic missions. This means we have been keeping just to record because it is a constituency in terms of registration, but when we upload the data, they are part and parcel of the main register. Because when you register in the foreign mission, you register in the constituency where you live. That's why it is not appearing there, but the record you have. For now, as we finalize the voters register, they are part and parcel of the main voters register. On the issue of people with disability, particularly with the deaf, it is a well-noted concern. And as a commission, we have already made a commitment to engage and collaborate the particular federation so that we move forward in terms of making sure that we reach to them as we are preparing or are commencing the election phase. We must also appreciate that when we presented the records, you can also see that we have a number of registered voters in that category. Of course, we take note that not everybody was reached. So on the youth segregation, we need to make sure that we build capacity, and on that basis, I will hand over to my colleague to tackle that as part of capacity building and segregation of duty.
Okay, Zenia. And I think while you handle it, I think he also asked, can we approach your office?
Yes. The question asked is whether we would be able to provide data of how many of the youth registered that are enrolled at tertiary institutions. Unfortunately, that is not part of the data that we have collected, because in terms of the Electoral Act, you only need the person's residential address, and some of them might not registered, or all of them might not live at tertiary institutions. So unfortunately, we won't be able to break it down to that level to say how many are enrolled in tertiary institutions and are registered as voters.
Okay. Yeah, I think it looks like there are a few questions. Okay. In the far corner. Last round.
Thank you, Matthias from Namibian Sun newspaper. I'd like to know, since these multiple entries were detected, well and good for the system, but what assurance is there? Because on election day, there won't be a chance to go and verify again. So what assurance is there that the system will be already watertight to prevent this? And I'd also like to know, the law makes it, it criminalizes those who sort of register twice. What do you do with these entries? Is that all, or is further action going to be taken against those that were detected?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Matthias. Next. Yes, thank you. Over there.
Thank you so much. Jessica Klavachab, National Disability Council. Just a further comment on my colleagues earlier regarding the registration in preparation for the elections. In the categories, also not to exclude those with the mental and intellectual disabilities as well. My colleagues and our clients can get triggered by crowded areas in making preparation for, I think, at the polling stations. Thank you.
I didn't get it. Was that a comment? I didn't get it correctly. I don't know. Did you get it right? Maybe she can you say that again?
Thank you. It was more comment and a note of advice in preparation of the elections. In Mr. Sharma's presentation, he alluded to only 4 categories, to also not exclude those with mental and intellectual disabilities, because we would tend to notice at the polling stations that that reservations are only made for those with physical, either deaf and that have a visual impairment, and our colleagues with the intellectual and mental disabilities are sometimes excluded or not considered or deemed appropriate to serve, to stand in the queue for those with disability. And our clients do get triggered by some of the environments at the polling station. So if it's just more comment and advice to make sure that we also cater for those colleagues. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I think that would be very interesting. Mental, yes, but intellectual disability, that will be very interesting to determine intellectual disability. Because I might be intellectually disabled in terms of understanding certain things, but historically I'm good at other things. Okay, next.
Thank you very much. Eleni, National Youth Council. First is a statement on behalf of our constituent. We see the percentage and we are happy in terms of what has been delivered in terms of registration. We are ready to partner in making sure that young people are going to vote. We have made a provision. We have already drafted a concept of a particular program specifically to make sure that those that are registered are going to vote. The question would be on another constituent that we also have the responsibility of is the marginalized communities. Is there any way that we have a specific data that speaks to marginalized communities, because we would want to take care of that constituent within that community so that we make sure that we cover them as well?
Okay, thank you. I think, yeah, 3 questions. CO. Multiple entries, any assurance during election? Was there any action taken?
Yeah, I will handle some, and some delegate with the power vested on me. On the youth, on the double entries, whether the system is tight, whether I will be able to detect that, it's a very good question you appreciate. And for those who went through the exercise of the mock voter verification, you will see that the system is tight. If you are removed, you are removed. It means the entry that has been removed will not be able, you can't do anything. So the security measures are already there. That's why the system already removes double entries as it prepares the voters register to make sure that this is on the onset taken care of. Of course, the colleagues can add. The others, I think, are more comment. And on the youth collaboration, I think we are also ready as a commission. And as you can see in the speech of the chairperson, has requested all of us to collectively walk together in this journey. So I will give the remaining one to the colleagues and also top up here and there. Chair.
Okay, yeah, particularly I think the follow-up on the assurance is whether there was an action taken against those who registered twice. Okay, Zenia.
On the double entries, in terms of voter registration, because the system has the capability to do that, and the electoral law doesn't make provision also for a punitive measure when it comes to double entries, but double voting, indeed it does. So on the system, as the CEO has indicated, we will remove your first entry, and it would not reflect. We had a demonstration with the political parties this morning. It would have been nice if we have some of the other stakeholders that are in the room, Chairperson, that have their voter registration cards, so that we can demonstrate also the capability of the system to them. Because we use biometric registration, it's very difficult for double entries to be in the voters register. It's in fact impossible, because the system would pick it up. Secondly, including on the day of voting, you would not be able to, you might get away with it, but afterwards we would still catch you. And why am I saying that? Because we do not do live verification. The system is not connected lively, but if we do our management reports afterwards, we're still able to pick up, including you would find it difficult because apart from the system that we use, we also have our other security features that are built into the process that would prohibit a person to attempt to vote twice. May I proceed? The other questions, I think?
I think the others were mostly comments, advice on mental and intellectual challenges, those with mental and intellectual challenges. In terms of voters' education, how are you going to do it? Marilyn can come in.
Yes. Before I hand over to Marilyn, Commissioner, I think there was one on the marginalized communities in terms of data, the data collection.
Yes, the last one.
So I think as we've shared with our stakeholders, I think the collection of data of disabled persons, it's the first time in our history, and because of the challenges that we had in the past, that we have started it with this system now. So I think we focused on persons with disabilities, and for now we have not included marginalized persons. So when we did the registration, we did not include marginalized communities.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Marilyn, lastly, just to comment on voters' education.
Yes, thank you. Actually, it was just a comment for us as an Electoral Commission when we are preparing for voting to ensure that persons that has other disabilities to be included, actually to be catered for when we are preparing our polling stations. And it's something that we are going to look at as we are preparing towards the process.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I said that was the last round, and we still have more presentation and questions. Yeah, you can hold on and then you will ask later on. Yeah, so you are insisting, maybe I should, for the sake of solidarity, let me give you the chance.
Thank you very much. I just want to allude to the question of the duplication. Councillor Schrijver asked a question this morning, and many of us were sitting here with the same type of question. I think the chair lady gave us a very nice explanation of the duplication, as well as Ms. Zinia. Maybe just to then just explain to the other stakeholders also what it is, what it includes, like the change of name, the correctness, the loss, damage. Because I think we're leaving the other stakeholders, because it's members of the media, we don't want them to take a misunderstood message out to the public. So that just to explain what is included in the duplication or the duplicates. Because all of us this morning, we were also sitting confused and wondering. And then, as was alluded to this morning, maybe to give it a different name.
Yes.
Or to say it's corrections or whatever. I think that was the only issue I had.
Okay, thank you very much. Zenia or Tatashama, I think Zenia, I think we clear that, and then we go to the next presentation, and then you will ask afterward.
Okay, the multiple entries, the 13,685 entries that we have on the voters register could be for various reasons. It could be because a person, and let me start with the ladies. When we went for registration, and ladies,
Zenia, sorry to interrupt you. I want the media to get this correctly, please, so that we are not misquoted and we get headlines that are going to confuse the nation. So please listen to the response.
The multiple entries can be for various reasons. And as I said, I wanted to start with us ladies. We like pictures, and we always want the pictures to make us look more beautiful and younger. So it could be that the person went for registration, they were not satisfied with the picture, so they went to another registration point and registered again, because they would have not been able to register at the same point where they were. The officials, one, would have not allowed them, and two, the system would have also not allowed them because their biometrics was already captured on that specific kit. Secondly, it could be because the person's details were wrongly spelled. The person could have been captured as a male or a female. The name, one of the names could have been excluded. So various reasons could contribute to multiple entries. And what the system does, and that's why I'm also saying that you can't register at the same point and you wanted to change again, because at that point, at that kit where you have registered, the system won't allow you to capture your biometrics a second time. So that is the multiple entries that was recorded and that we have removed. So now, on the day of polling, when you go, the system, because we keep that record, but the record shows that it has been deleted. We keep record to say you have registered twice, but your first entry is already removed from the system through the AFIS, and there would only be one entry that would allow you to vote.
Zenia, just also explain with the verification when the system goes live. If you voted and you try to go back a second time, what will happen when that verification is done? Just to demonstrate how watertight this system is.
As the chairperson indicated, if there's network connectivity, if there is network connectivity, the system will automatically pick it up. It would, if I attempt to vote at polling, or I vote at polling station A, and I attempt to go to polling station B, and there is network connectivity, the system will pick it up. It would even indicate at which polling station you were already verified. So even before you attempt to get a second ballot at the second station, because verification takes place before you are issued with the ballot, the system will pick it up. And I've indicated earlier, yes, there might be areas where we do not have network connectivity, but remember also, we have the other security features, and one of those other security features is in Namibia, or even in SADC, I think we're the only country that uses two types of voting ink. We use the indelible ink, and we also use the visible ink. So there are many layers of security built into to make sure people do not attempt to vote twice. But for those that might think they will get away, those tablets that do not have network connectivity, the minute the tablet gets network connectivity, the data will be uploaded to our central server. We would still be able to, when we do our management reports, detect that you have voted twice, because the security feature is your biometrics, and the system will record it.
Can I confirm with the media, is it clear? It's clear. Thank you.
Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I think my session is done now.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Next on our program will be the official handover of the Provisional Voters Register to the Register of Political Parties and Associations. Chairperson and Mr. Sharma, you moderate this session. We have a list of registered political parties, as well as their authorized representatives. And I think the chairperson is going to give the order of the day on how this is going to be issued, but would like the media to closely capture this session.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Siluka. We have a list here of all registered political parties, associations, and organizations. So we're going to call the name of the party and the authorized representative. Only the authorized representative will collect the soft copy of the Provisional Voters Register. So once the name is read, you come to the front, and then I will hand over the memory stick, and after that we'll ask you to sign the register to confirm that indeed we gave you the information. Thank you. Okay, so the associations, we will have another session for you, because we'll not give you the national Provisional Voters Register, we'll give you the one that is constituency based. In local authorities. Is it clear? Thank you. So are you going to read this? All right.
And the political parties will read in accordance to the alphabetical order from A to Z. Action Democratic Movement, authorized representative Mr. Mateus Paulus. Mr. Mateus Paulus.
Then the commission is going to react not in a very good manner. We might even open criminal cases. This is sensitive data that belongs to people. So please let us respect it. Thank you. Then you should sign it.
The next one is the affirmative repositioning party. Authorized representative is Mr. Mashitwabi Stanley Kavetu. Mr. Kavetu.
They are live streaming, so I should stand in a certain position.
Sorry. The next political party is the All People's Party, APP. Authorized representative, Mr. Marius Gorasep.
Mr. Gorasek, I'm handing over to you the Provisional Voters Register. This contains the data of all registered voters. Please protect it and use it for the purpose that is intended. Thank you very much.
The next political party is the Body of Christ. Authorized representative is Bishop Festus Thomas.
Bishop Thomas, I'm handing over to you the Provisional Voters Register. It contains the data of all voters that are registered. Please protect this data and use it only for the intended purpose.
Okay, the one that I crashed. This one? Okay, yeah. Okay. Congress of Democrats, authorized representative, Mr. Veino Amthenu.
If the authorized representative is not here, please approach us at the office. But as I indicated, we're not giving it to anybody else.
Congress of Democrats. Independent Patriotic for Change. The Independent Patriots for Change. The authorized representative is Miss Christine Ohamus. Please
repeat the name of the party and the surname. You don't have to make a click if you can't.
My apology. The next political party is the Independent Patriots for Change, IPC. The authorized representative is Miss Christine Ohamus. Miss Christine Ohamus.
Yes. Christine, I'm handing over this Provisional Voters Register to you as the authorized representative of the IPC. Please protect this data and use it only for the intended purpose. Thank you. It's not empty. No?
The next one is the Landless People's Movement. Authorized representative is Mr. Ivan Scriver. No, Landless People's Movement. Names, you know.
Please forgive our young men. I'm handing over to you the Provisional Voters Register. It contains all the records of everybody who is registered. Please use it only for the intended purpose and protect this data. Thank you.
Monitor Action Group. The authorized representative is Mr. Willie Oosthuizen. Absent. The next party is the National Democratic Party of Namibia. The authorized representative is Mr. Martin Lukato.
So, Mr. Lucato, I'm handing over to you the Provisional Voters Register containing the data of everybody who is registered. Please use it only for the intended purpose and protect this data. Thank you. Thank you.
The next party is the National Empowerment Fighting Corruption. Authorized representative is Mr. Kenneth Ilonga, National Empowerment Fighting Corruption. Mr. Kenneth Ilonga.
He's not here.
National Empowerment Fighting Corruption. Okay, they are not in our midst. The next one is the National Patriotic Front of Namibia. The authorized representative is Mr. Simeon Papama.
Mr. Papama, it's my pleasure to hand over to you the Provisional Voters Register. This contains sensitive data of everyone who is registered. Please protect it and use it only for the intended purpose. Thank you.
The next one is the National Unity Democratic Organization of Namibia. The authorized representative is Mr. Joseph Kawandenge. The next one is the Popular Democratic Movement. Authorized representative is Mr. Manuel Ngaringombe. Not here. The next one is the Rally for Democracy and Progress. The authorized representative is Mr. Nicanor Njode. The next one is the Republican Party of Namibia. Authorized representative is Mr. Herlinde Chivede. Honorable Herlinde.
She's reminding us she's in Parliament, so please do
Yes.
the honors.
All right.
Honorable, I'm handing over to you the Provisional Voters Register containing the data of everyone who is registered. Please protect it and use it only for the intended purpose. Thank you.
The next one is the SWANU of Namibia. Authorized representative is Mr. Isi Chioreko. Okay. The next one is the SWAPO Party of Namibia. The authorized representative is Honorable Sophia Shaningwa.
Got the information when you were saying it below. think they quoted you wrong. Over 900,000 registered voters under the age of 35, which is not true.
And I just sent the presentation.
Mrs. Shaningwa, I'm handing over to you the Provisional Voters Register. This contains the data of everyone who is registered. Please protect this data and use it only for the intended purpose. Thank you. No. No duplicate.
Once we are done,
Thank you.
then you just say, please, correction, 18 to 34 are 600. And 35 above 800. Where are they getting this 900,000?
Yeah.
Then you're giving me back money.
Okay. The next one is the United Democratic Front of Namibia. The authorized representative is Mr. Daniel Tanep.
Mr. Tanep, you can please face the camera. I'm handing over to you the Provisional Voters Register containing sensitive information of everybody who is registered. Please protect it and use it only for the intended purpose. Thank you.
The next one is the United People's Movement. The authorized representative is Mr. Francis Hush.
Mr. Francis, let me call you that. If you can face the camera, please. I'm handing over to you the Provisional Voters Register. It contains data of everyone who is registered, and I would like you to please protect it and use it only for the intended purpose. Thank you.
The next one, and last but not least, is the Workers' Revolutionary Party. The authorized representative is Mr. Havard Beekers. Havard Beekers. Havard Beekers.
He was here in the morning. No, he's not here now.
He's not here. Okay, those are the list of political parties on our register. And as the chairperson has already alluded to, the one for the local authority will be provided to the associations and the organization.
Just again to repeat, if your authorized representative was not present, please come to ECN and we'll follow exactly the same procedure. Thank you.
Political parties. There are 20. Yes. Yes.
We have 20 registered political parties in total.
All right, thank you very much. Next on our program is the announcement of the voter verification exercise and the demonstration of the module. And would like to invite Ms. Zinia Klassen, the Director of Operation, to take that presentation. Ms. Klassen.
Very good afternoon to everybody. I stand on all protocols already established. My task here, like the CEO said earlier, is also very easy. I'm just going to take you through the intended program that we have to mock our voter verification system that would be introduced during the upcoming elections. Am I supposed to manage this?
Yes.
In terms of our Electoral Act, it's a requirement that every voter that votes needs to be verified in order to ensure that that voter is included in the voters register and is eligible to participate in the election. In our previous elections that we have conducted, voter verification was one of the challenges we had in terms of the slowness of the process. So following the 2019 and 2020 elections, it was one of the key areas that the Commission has looked at to bring enhancement to the process and also make the voter verification for the voters seamless when they enter a polling station. So the purpose of the verification module aims to reduce the time that a voter spends in a voting station and also to ensure compliance with Section 103 of Section 100, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act. The enhanced features of this system is that it now has the capability of scanning a QR code. Our voter registration cards that we have issued now has a QR code on it. So it would make the voter verification process much more faster, the speed of the operation much more faster, because the QR code has the capability of searching for voters faster. The voters' details will be displayed on the voter verification device, and the verification officer will be able to do a visual verification of the data that is on the device, equally of the person that is in front of the voter verification officer. And in addition, the person would be required to also present a random finger that the system will select in order to verify the voters' biometrics on the system. So when the Commission introduced the system during the voter registration that was just concluded on the 1st of August, we also had a mock verification on the voter registration module. Equally, we're going to conduct a mock verification on the voter verification device, and the purpose is basically to only test the functionality of the system in a real-time environment in preparation for the 2024 presidential and National Assembly elections. So the enhanced system leverages mobile technology to make voter verification more efficient on polling day and marks a significant milestone in our efforts to modernize and improve on our electoral process. This mock verification process will commence as of tomorrow, the 30th of August, in various constituencies. We start in the Khomas region. We'll have a team that would be at the Moses Garuap constituency in the Havana suburb. The venue would be the Abraham Iyambu Primary School, and the team will be there from 8 o'clock in the morning until 1600 hours in the afternoon. They will equally be at the same point on the 31st of August from 9 o'clock in the morning until 1600 hours in the afternoon. We'll also have a team in the Groothoop, Windhoek Rural Constituency in Groothoop at the constituency office. The team will be there both on the 30th of August as well as the 31st of August. On the 30th from 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock, and then on the 31st from 9 until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We will have 3 teams at 3 of our biggest tertiary institutions in Windhoek West constituency. That is UNAM at the main campus, IUM, as well as NAST. At UNAM, the team will be from 8 o'clock until 10 o'clock. IUM, the team would be there from 11 o'clock until 1 o'clock. And at NAST, the team will be there from 1400 hours until 1600 hours. The same team will be at the Baines Shopping Centre, also in Windhoek West, on Saturday, the 31st of August, from 9 o'clock until 10 o'clock in the morning. The team in the Windhoek East constituency will be in Grove Mall Shopping Centre on the 31st from 11 until 1 o'clock. Marua Mall from 1400 hours until 1600 hours. And we will also have a team that will be in the Okahania constituency at the Okahania Shopping Mall, both on the 30th and the 31st of August between 8 o'clock until 1600 hours. The last team will be in Ongwediva constituency, and this team will be at the Ongwediva Trade Fair tomorrow from 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock, and then on Saturday, not tomorrow 30th, yes, and then on Saturday at the Ongwediva Shopping Centre from 9 o'clock until 1600 hours. So that is the program for the mock verification. As the Chairperson has already alluded to, we implore on all our stakeholders, especially all registered voters, to please partake in this exercise and assist the Commission in testing the functionality of this system in preparation for the 2024 Presidential and National Assembly elections. I thank you. I've thanked them now, Chairperson, but I also wanted our stakeholders, because this morning we had our political parties here. We will have a team that would be at the back, and for those of the stakeholders that are here that have brought along their voter registration cards, we would like you to also take the opportunity and be part of the first that can be verified against the system. We have our political parties here. They can attest. I'm also happy to inform the stakeholders that all our political parties that were present this morning, we were able to verify them, so they did register. We have our mobile voter verification device. Okay. Thank you for the question, Honourable Schryver. Yes, there was a question raised, why only in selected constituencies, and we currently have 5 constituencies. I think it's the same approach that we have followed when we did our mock verification on the voter registration. We selected constituencies, and this time around, if you especially see, we focused on places where we can get a lot of footprint of people. Like tertiary institutions, we also have the big trade fair that attracts a lot of people that's currently ongoing in Ongwediva. And the constituencies we selected now are not the same constituencies that we used also when we did the voter registration, just to make sure that we cover a broad base. Unfortunately, Chairperson, I think as all our stakeholders know, we are in a very critical period, and our resources, not only financial resources, but human resources, are also focused on preparations for the elections, hence why only the selected constituencies. So we have the integrated mobile voter registration system.
Registered in commerce, you could easily find your name elsewhere in the country. This is what we are saying. Thank you.
The exercise that we are doing now for the voter registration, let me make an example. When we're going to conduct this exercise over the next 2 days, you might find that you are from Otsozonchupa or Kahanya constituency, but you find yourselves in Windhoek. And at that point, you find our officials busy with this exercise. It doesn't mean that you need to be verified in Otsozonchupa. You can also be verified in Windhoek. Because at the end of the day, for the election coming up, presidential and National Assembly elections, you can vote anyway. And that's why we have this device also, because we will have the National Voters Register on this device that would be able to register, to verify anybody, irrespective of the constituency where they've registered in. So the integrated mobile voter registration system, part of the integrated mobile voter registration system is the voter verification module. So our system was designed in such a way that for voter registration, we use all the components. That includes the camera, it includes the signature pad, it includes the fingerprint, the biometric device that captures the fingerprints. But for voter verification, we are only going to use the tablet. So the tablet would have all the information of all registered voters, and it's through the tablet and the voters' biometric details that we would be able to verify the person on the voters' register to ensure the person is eligible to vote in the elections. So this is a device that is mobile. Obviously, it's easy for our officials to carry it. Comes with its carry case at the back. Also, it has its battery pack so that the officials can easily charge it should it run out of battery. But it also has the capability of being charged on any electricity socket, like our ordinary phones. Chairperson, I think that's the end of my presentation. We will have a team at the back for those that have their voter registration cards here, just to demonstrate to you also the efficiency of the system as we have done with our political parties this morning. I thank you.
Well, thank you. Next on our program is then a discussion that will follow to understand if there's anything that Ms. Klassen did not clear out to you on the announcement of the voter verification or mock voter verification exercise that will be conducted starting tomorrow. And I would like to invite Commissioner Emma Leonard to facilitate the discussion. Can we maybe have 15 minutes? 10, 15 minutes? Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. And let me also observe the protocol that was already established. Mine will be very brief. But before I get there, I was unfortunately not present this morning, so I would like to call upon you. I understand there were pictures taken, so please bear with us. We are almost done. I need to be in that picture as well. So we are almost done. So are there any questions based on the mock verification system that was just presented by Tate Lucato?
Thank you very much, Commissioner and Madam Chair. Mine is the support of the follow-up question which was raised by the respected ambassador here regarding the constituency of the foreign registrations, embassies, as well as the voter points in the foreign missions. It's so important that when we say democracy, we should also indicate to the public that Namibia has held a free, fair, and credible elections, to indicate that in the foreign countries where our people they are going to cast their important votes, those embassies, they should be indicated, they should be known. And also the registrations of our people in the foreign countries should be indicated that those ambassadors, those who host our respected voters should be known to the Namibian, Africa, and the whole world for free, fair, and credible election. I thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? There's a hand right at the back.
Thank you, sir. Mine is on the system and the voters' roll. Will we be able to have a voters' roll at all polling stations? Did you see this phone? It's a smartphone. This phone is also freezing. And if the phone is freezing, you have to restore the address. And all the documents are disappearing. So I just want to know, these devices, how many votes will they record? How many votes will they record? And if the system is freezing, what is the procedures for those devices?
Okay. There's another hand here in front.
Thank you very much. I also maybe want to make a kind of follow-up or a question, kind of. Pastor Okato, my senior, has indicated or asked a question whether those other members representing the country in diasporas, I'm dwelling about the diasporas, there are specific peoples. How are they getting their trainings? How will we know that they are also capable to handle our materials there? Maybe a little clarity there. Thank you.
Okay, any other? There's one more. I think we'll just take, I don't think we'll have a lot of questions, so we'll take all the questions at once. And please
Thank
do
you
not
very
forget.
much. I received one through the platforms here. They are trying to find out on the device given to political parties, the security system on them. Are they locked maybe to be accessible by those authorized people only, or in case if one political party loses one now, anybody can have access to that information? What are the security measures on those devices given to political parties?
Okay, thank you. We have 4 questions. Is that it? All right, then we can try and get clarity on the question. The first one basically dealt with the diplomatic missions and the voting points at the diplomatic missions. Will we know where this would be? And as much as the question was responded to earlier, it resurfaced again with the data on the registrations in the diplomatic missions be provided, similar to it was done this afternoon for the constituencies. That is the first question. Maybe I can also just take the second. The second one is how many votes will the device be able to take? And what happens when should it freeze in terms of the security? The third question focuses on the diaspora, not the voting, but the training on handling the devices. The training is offered here in the country. Would the same be done for those in the diaspora? And how certain are we that those that will be handling these devices would be doing it effectively? The final question is on the security aspects of the USB that we provided to the political parties. These are the USBs with Provisional Voters Register on it. Is it locked? What happens should somebody who is not authorized happens to gain access to it? Those are the 4 questions, CEO.
I will request our Director of Operations to effectively deal with these questions. With your permission.
Director of Operations.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Here's one here.
First question that I want to address is the question relating to how many votes will the system be taking. This is not a system used for voting. It's for voter verification. So on that device will be 1,400,000 and I already forgot how many people is on the voters register. 1.4 million people.
1,451,000.
Yes.
And
444 people will be on that device so that we can verify them on the day of election. So it's not the device used for voting. The second question would be, would there be a backup? Will there be voters' rolls at the polling stations? No, there won't be hard copies of the voters' roll at the polling station because it would be impossible to have over 370 books at each polling station containing 1.4 million people. However, there will be a backup also on the system that we can fall back should there be anything technical on the system and it won't be able to verify. The second question regarding the training of the foreign mission officials, the law is clear. It says it must be staff members of the Ministry of International Relations that conducts this processes abroad at the diplomatic missions. How are we going to train them? We have already trained these officials for both the registration process that we have just concluded and the polling process, and this training took place in Swakopmund in March. Again, before the polling now in October, because we live in a digital world, we are going to give them a refresher training again on the polling process, and the exact dates would be shared with the political parties. So we have made provision to train these officials. The issue of the statistics of foreign missions, as the CEO has earlier alluded to, yes, we've made those statistics available on a weekly basis, equally like we have made available the statistics of people that have registered locally, because it was the count of the bodies that we have announced. It was not the data that was uploaded on the system, and as the CEO has also indicated, these people are now absorbed into the constituencies where they are registered in. So they are not registered in foreign missions. They are registered in 121 constituencies, and they are included in those constituencies. If the stakeholders so wish, we can still make available to say where they are registered. We've also recorded at the end of the registration that it was 2,804 people that have registered, that have turned out for registration abroad. The memory sticks that are given to political parties, they are not encrypted with a password or a passcode. And I think that is why we have had the political party signed for it. That's why the chairperson has also indicated and pleaded with political parties to safeguard that information that is given to them. It's by law that they are entitled to this information, and I think as a very key stakeholder in this process, they also have the responsibility to ensure that they safeguard, as the chairperson has said when she has delivered the memory sticks to them. All questions, Commissioner?
Thank you, Ms. Klassen.
Sorry, they just wanted to add on the constituency, just for some maybe not to confuse. What happened during registrations like this at the mission, let me say United States Embassy Office, when you present yourself there, you are going to pretend as you are in Namibia. The information you are going to give is the information in Namibia where you're coming from. If you are coming from Okakarara, you are going to say, I am from Okakarara constituency. Therefore, when the data were uploaded at our server, your name will be in Okakarara, not United States, whatever it is. I think that should be very clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's assisting with the mic? We've got one hand there and another. Oh, 1, 2.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Just want to ask, the Ministry of Home Affairs is a stakeholder in this. Maybe the dates when we are going to have the last numbers of living when we're approaching November. Any updates going to be done by ECN in a collaboration with Home Affairs?
Let me see if I got that.
Yeah, the question I'm saying, because not all people are going to reach November. Some might die.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Yeah. What you're basically saying is that from the 1.4 million that we have registered, maybe some may before the 27th of June, sorry, of November, be deceased. So when will Home Affairs be providing that information and for us to then also clean our records based on that?
Exactly.
Okay. Tate Lukato?
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Mine again is regarding the concern of our people, those who live and reside in the foreign countries. So according to the let me say, the number I had, those who have already registered is 2,000 something like that. So now, my question, what about those students who are studying in foreign countries and also those who are working? For me, I humbly request the respected commission as well as the office of the ministry responsibility to know how many Namibians are living and studying in a foreign country. I thank you.
Thank you. There was another hand on my left. We've got two.
Yeah, thank you. Just two quick points. The issue of the register being with the parties now. Will the identity numbers be redacted in those registers, or are they open? Secondly, the issue of the foreign missions. I think going forward it's important to also have this segment within your report, because if I had a political party, the reason why I would want to know how many people are in Brazil is to know how much resources I can avail in terms of perhaps social media and in terms of campaigning. So I think in that aspect, the parties could be hard done with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mine is just on the issue of voting. Because voting is the constitutional right for us, all of us, to vote. But, Dr. Commissioner?
What? My apologies.
My question is, we have seen that people have been used as voting cows. And people who are foreigners, who are owning our oil, owning our resources, they are not now in election, but the Namibians are the one now being organized by ECN to go and vote for their respective political parties. But after being voting, those people then go to parliament or they go to represent there, then they start working with those Chinese investors, and they even say the oil doesn't belong to the Namibian, or the resources doesn't belong. That's why you see the country is full of poverty. People are living in shacks in capital cities. Their living condition is not changing. So I just wanted to ask whether our votes really, you, ECN, do you guarantee that our votes really will bring an impact to the life of the citizens? Because we don't just vote for fun. We vote because we want to change the condition of our country. And not only to put people from certain political party in parliament, but we want a better country, not a country being controlled by from Beijing or from Washington, or by these foreign countries who are hungry for power, who are enriching themselves with African resources.
Okay, thank you. Point well taken. Point well taken. At this moment, I should just remind us that we have almost come to the end of the time that we had with NBC. So we need to wrap up and close the event, because I think we had only time allocated until 5 o'clock. But we have 4 questions. that were posed, some of which were basically can be taken as comments. The first one was the deletion of the deceased based on the records from the Ministry of Home Affairs. The second is back to the point of registration at diplomatic missions. In our register, is it inclusive of persons who are working and studying abroad? Third question is the devices that we provided to the political parties, the USBs. Are the identity numbers, the ID numbers indicated? Will people be able to see the persons who have registered ID number on the devices? And the second was basically just a comment for our noting, is that we in future must have a separate segment for registrations at foreign missions, so that that information is equally captured the way the rest of it, the other registrations are, persons that is registered are done. The final question, which is really not within the jurisdiction or the powers of the ECN, will votes bring an impact to the lives of the people, especially the poor of this country? And how can ECN ensure that the voters' vote will bring about a change in people's lives? Let me try and attempt the final question. Like I said, that is really not, the power of the vote is not something that is determined by the ECN. The ECN, if you read our Electoral Act and in the Constitution, our mandate is to organize free, fair, credible elections. And that's what we are trying to do with all these engagements that we have, trying to strengthen our processes, be transparent as possible, seeking input from all our stakeholders to really ensure that we fulfill our mandate to the best of our abilities. The impact in terms of people's lives that the vote can bring, that's where the other stakeholders and you, our stakeholders, political parties, come to play. You have your the manifestos. You have your pledges and your commitments that you make. So it is for our stakeholders to ensure that the lives of the people change. For the ECN, we create a fertile ground, I would call it a fertile ground, whereby our elections, that each person, each Namibian would have an opportunity to register and to vote. And we are really trying with the 90% registration that we have. We would also, like the chairperson has said earlier on, want to see that all that 90% that has registered would come and vote on the 27th of November. And that is the ECN. In terms of people's lives changing, I would leave that in your court. The other questions, CEO or Director Operations? Zenia? But you've got the questions, eh? Yeah.
With the issue of the deceased voters, removing of deceased voters from the voters register, the Electoral Act is very clear on that. We remove the deceased voters. We just need to be mindful that the register that we have given to political parties today is the Provisional Voters Register. So this is not the final voters register yet. So come 30th of September, when the final voters register is available, we'll be removing the deceased voters from the voters register on a monthly basis as the law provides for. The second question on the foreign missions, people that are working abroad and studying abroad, yes, Honorable Lokato, Those people, if they've presented themselves to the registration points, they would have been included in the voters register. The issue of the identity numbers, no. The identity numbers are not included in the voters register. Neither are they included in the devices that we have given to political parties today, because the law is specific of what needs to be included in the voters register, and that has been included in the register provided to the political parties. The other question, I think, Chairperson, Commissioner, it was more comment on the issue of the segmented voters register for foreign missions, but as the law currently stands, it does not provide for a separate register of foreign missions, because foreign missions is not a constituency.
What he is asking is whether we can provide the data that says in these countries, these are the number of people
Female.
registered, even though as part of the register, we are not indicating that. That is what he's asking.
Yes, that data is available. We can indicate who registered in which country, where people registered, that 2,804 people who have registered in which country. So that data can be availed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chairperson, I just want to add on that one. That data can be availed to political parties, and it's something like we've made it available to the political parties now. So it's not public information.
All right, I think we are done with the questions. I would again just like to remind you that the mock exercise is still running.
For those that have came with their voter registration cards, we have the colleagues at the back. They can present themselves to those colleagues, and they can verify them to check if they are included in the system.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, for that session. We would like to invite Commissioner Hesson Waripi Shenuna to close. But before he closes, I just want to make a few announcements, just two. Number one, after the prayer, we'll all gather at the green grass outside there for a group picture. And then from there, we'll be served with a light supper at the restaurant. So you can join there. Thank you. Commissioner, over to you.
Yeah, a few years back, I was driving in Katutura, and there were some kids who were playing, and one of the kids looking at me was shouting, saying to his friends, "Kijk, die toppie, he lijkt op Frank Fredericks." So that's when I realized that now I have become a toppie. So this topic will not bore you with a long speech, because it has been a long day. I stand by the protocols as established. On occasions like this, I always quote from Chapter 1, Article 1, Sub-Article 2 of our Constitution. Why do I do that? Because as ECN, and you as stakeholders, we should always remember that the citizens of Namibia are at the heart of, or central to, our democratic process. We must always remember that. Now, Chapter 1, Article 1, Sub-Article 2 of our Constitution reads as follows, and I quote, "All power shall vest in the people of Namibia, who shall exercise their sovereignty through the democratic institutions of the state." Not some power, all power. End of quote. The bedrock of our democracy is the sovereignty of the citizens. The sovereignty of the citizens means that no one, no institution is above the people as a collective. Therefore, elected leaders from all the political parties lead on the basis of a borrowed mandate from the sovereign citizens. And I'm sure some of you have already embarked on campaigns, etc. Election campaigns and voting are all about one thing. That is trying to borrow the mandate from the citizens for the next 5 years. Now, perhaps in a way of answering what Mr. Kasumi was saying, as ECN, we are the referee, and you as stakeholders, especially political parties, are the players. Our role as the referee is to create a level playing field. That's all. That's our main role, if you put it in a layman's language, is to create a level playing field. Therefore, going forward, we appeal to you to tolerate each other so that we can have peaceful elections for which Namibia is known. The announcement of these provisional statistics and the Provisional Voters Register marks the closure of a very important process piece in our electoral calendar. And only after the objection period has elapsed on the 4th of September 2024 shall we be able to release the final voters register, as the chairperson said, on the 30th of September 2024. The word provisional means temporary, datelec. So what we have given you today is the provisional voters register. As we are about to embark on that final leg, on the final leg of our journey towards the 27th of November 2024, our election date, we ask for your support. With your support and with our state-of-the-art integrated mobile voter registration system, we as ECN are ready to borrow from my young brother, the other Gerson, to deliver elections, the likes of which have never been experienced in the annals of our history as a republic. I thank you. I have also been asked to pray. Shall we just stand up? Father, we thank you that you have been with us throughout these deliberations. And as we are preparing for the final leg of this important journey towards our election date on the 27th of November 2024, we ask and pray for tolerance, mutual understanding, and mutual respect. Lord, without your guidance as ECN, without your guidance as stakeholders, we are nothing. We need your divine intervention. We need your divine guidance. And we ask these things not because we deserve them, but in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Be blessed. In the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Be blessed. In the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, we pray. Be blessed.